So first and foremost, Dave, Jesse, Bo, you're gonna have to tell me these guys are on because I haven't seen them yet. But congrats to our brand new producers. I mean, they wrote their first FB apps this week. To Mr. Jared Hardy out of Utah, Ben Clark out of South Carolina, and Nancy Graham also out of, or not also, but in Oregon. So congrats to you all. Do you guys see Jared or Ben on the call?
I don't see him.
No, all right. I did get a notification they were traveling today, so I wasn't sure they were going to make it. I mean, it stinks when you write 6 apps in your first week. You know, maybe you can afford to travel or something. So,
right.
Yeah. So props to all of them. Dave, I'm going to kick it to you to speak to the MedSup referral bonus. Fine, sir.
Yeah, guys. Of course, Medicare. If you're not familiar, Medicare open enrollment is coming. It's right around the corner in October, and our contract with Aflac and your contracts with Aflac gives us access to the MedSup Medicare Supplement Program. And Aflac has right now they're number 1 or number 2 in about 85% of markets. They're 1, 2, or 3 in the mid 90% of markets, and in the West Coast, almost across the board, they are the best price. So there's a lot of current Medicare agents and agencies that would love to have a contract with Aflac, but right now, due to some administrative issues, they can't go direct to Aflac. So they have to go through an IMO like us. And so if there is a agency that sells Medicare right now, or that you're working with, or an agent that is selling Medicare products, if you refer them to us and they write 3 apps, for a single agent, we're paying you guys $100 when they write 3 apps for referral. And if it's an agency, we're paying you $500 when the agency writes 3 MedSup apps. So that this window is starting to close, but there's a lot of people looking for the product right now. So guys, if you know folks who are out there in that space, heck yeah, refer. And it's as simple as sending an email to Paul or myself with an introduction, and you're ready to rock and roll. So pretty simple, easy way to make some cash. These people are selling it anyway, and they are super anxious. We're adding a couple, 2, 3 agents every single week of MedSup who are just looking to sell Aflac's products. So easy way for you guys to make a little cash.
Let me chime in on that, because I just called a friend of mine who's a broker yesterday and talked to him, and he had told me, he says, hey, I've got so many people that are downlines to us requesting Aflac MedSup that he went out and found some random company that was going to put him on about half of the commission tier that we were able to put him on. So just let you guys know, people are actively looking for this. So get out there. All you got to do is just call them up, say, hey, I got this that I can help you guys out with. That might go a long way improving that relationship. So he's actually going to pull that contract from the other vendor and come over with us.
Yeah, love it. And a big reason and a big leg up that we have right now, of course, we've talked about it, so I'm not going to dive too in depth, but Aflac's pricing is so stinking good right now, especially for you West Coasters, West Coast, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Kansas, phenomenal rates in those areas right now. So people are coming to us naturally, which is great. In fact, Bo and I have lunch with a MedSup broker today. But I also met with one on Thursday, and they told me something interesting. You've probably heard this. It was brought up just yesterday in the election cycle, but the Inflation Reduction Act. And that is having a tremendous impact on Medicare if you're not all that aware of it. I'm not going to speak too much to it because I'm certainly no expert on it, but I know enough that essentially what's happening is a lot of the funding that the federal government would be picking up, they're shifting to the carriers. And so what's happening with a lot of carriers is they're pulling out of areas because they just simply can't afford it. So there's a lot of producers right now that their clients are going to be getting notices on October 1st that their provider or their carrier that they've been using is going away. So they're going to have to go find new coverage. So for those producers over the years, rather than having this open enrollment period where they're going to be able to chase new business, they're going to have to be hustling to talk to their existing clients to be able to retain that business. So there's a big opportunity there for that. That's actually a big reason why we have that next bullet there, Medicare 101 on September 25th. So mark your calendars on that one. It's going to be at noon Pacific time. Dave, I'm going to lean on you to speak a little bit to this one as well, and Sarah and what she's going to do.
Yeah, so guys, we work with for the health side, Medicare Advantage as well as Medicare Sup. We work with Premier. Premier is they are they're one of the premier agencies and one of the largest agencies in the country. And so Sarah is our contact over there. Sarah is going to be jumping on board with us and doing a training for everybody. So talking about really Medicare 101. Once you understand the rules, it's not as scary, but there are a lot of rules. I just want to tell you guys that up front. Carla knows. Carla's been playing in space. I'm looking at you right now, Carla, by the way. But Carla's been playing in the space. There's a lot of rules and there's some certifications and stuff. But for those of you who want to look at going down in that space, fantastic. The SUP side is much, much easier. Medicare SUP. Carla, would you agree? SUP's a heck of a lot easier. Yep. Way easier. Cody knows too. SUP's easier, way easier. You guys are prepared with a little bit of training. You guys can be prepared to sell SUP right now. But Advantage, much more complex, much more detailed. You need to know the market space. There are rules around marketing, and so Sarah's going to talk through that stuff. So if you just want to have a better understanding of what the Medicare market space looks like, fantastic. Jump on. You can learn. Doesn't mean you have to sell to get on. But if you just want to, like I say, if you want to get a broader picture of what that space looks like, it's actually really good to know too, even for your final expense clients, what they're facing. Because I'll tell you what, a lot of final expense clients are Medicare Advantage clients as well. So it's nice to know what they're facing, especially as you're talking budgets and things like that. But Sarah's going to be on with us. They are an amazing agency, and she'll also make herself available to do one-on-one trainings as well. So if you do want to go down that pathway and start working in that space a little bit, she's going to be there to help.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave. And the other thing with that, she's a great partner, as Dave mentioned, and this is their area of expertise. They have trainings out the wazoo. They have all kinds of videos and things like that. So we're working with them to link all of that to our website as well. So you'll have those resources. I want to speak to this as well. If you see that, the second to bottom bullet there, the iGo support, I wanted to bring this up because some of you have had, myself included, have had some frustrations in going through some of the Transamerica applications. There's been some hiccups once we send that signature via email. So there's a few things that we found that you can avoid. For some reason, their link does not play well with Safari. So again, there's San Francisco dealing with Safari, but so if they're on an iPhone, they can have some problems. So you may have to coach them up on how to copy the link, open up Chrome, paste it into Chrome to be able to finalize that. Their PIN number is their full social security number, by the way. So another issue that we've uncovered.
Full social with dashes, Paul.
That's where I was going. Yep. So
okay.
Most people will just type it in, right? Because that's normal. But their system, you have to type the dashes in your social security number. So if you have people that are getting locked out because they're just typing their full social, no dashes, it's not going to work. So, and after 3 attempts, it's going to lock that out. You're going to have to resend them the email. Trying to think if there's anything else that we uncovered in facilitating that this week.
Yeah, hey guys, with the iGo app, I spent about a half an hour on the phone with iGo yesterday, and those instructions that Paul just said are included to the client. So they're being told full social with dashes in the messaging, so it's there. But most people are like me and they don't read it. They just like, oh, social, type it in. So the instructions are there for the client. And walks them through, but some of you guys know it, those of you who've been selling, sometimes tech is a little bit challenging for some of the folks that we deal with. So just know that that's there. But you guys, they are very quick. Call that number and you don't have to listen to all those options. Just hit option 3 and you'll be talking to a tech specialist with iGo. So if you've got a client who's stuck, that lets you know. Something else to note with iGo, if you guys are selling term life, if you're selling something other than final expense, you'll notice when you go, I don't know if any of you guys have sold term life on there yet, but as you go through the application, there's no medical questions. That is not a big celebration because there's no medical questions. That's because the client actually does the medical questions themselves. So what happens is the application goes to the client. The client will then put in their social, but what their social is doing is signing the HIPAA form. That's what their social is doing. That will pop up the medical questions for them to answer. And then once they complete the medical questions, then it gets passed back in. So just know that's what happens on the term and the whole life product as opposed to the final expense product. So something to
Awesome.
note.
Dave, while you're talking there, I know Celeste brought a lead source to us, and we're going to be betting next week. Do you want to speak to that real quick?
Yeah, we are excited. In fact, we have a call, Paul. If you didn't see it, we have a call at 11:15 today with them to finalize that deal. We are working with a more live transfer lead source, and we've played with them. Cody sampled live transfers before. They were not great by any stretch of the imagination. And so we're running another test with another company. The big difference that we see is these sources have already vetted over the phone with these clients, name, address, the usual lead stuff, name, address, birth date, that kind of stuff. They confirm that they have an active banking account that they have access to. Yay, that's nice. They hit all of the knockout questions. Are you in a nursing home? Do you have dementia? They confirm how much, who their beneficiary is, how much premium they want to spend, how much do they want to spend each month, and how much face amount they're looking for. And so once the first vetter goes through and they answer all those questions, it gets handed off to a confirmation specialist. That confirmation specialist confirms everything again, and then they warm transfer the call to you. So your phone rings with the person on the phone. The call transfer person would do something like this. Hey, Cody, this is Dave. I have Sally on the phone. She's looking for final expense from the amount of about $10,000. She's got $80 a month to spend. Are you ready to take the call? And you will also via API in Agent One, you'll see the lead information. So you'll have it all there. And then they're going to hand the phone to you. Typically, these warm transfer calls, the payment happens at 60 to 90 seconds. That's when you have to start paying for their call. And those leads are much more expensive, guys, than typical leads because you already have them on the phone. These guys, they don't charge us until the 4th minute. So you get 4 minutes with the client before you get charged for that lead. So anyway, Celeste, big thank you to you for helping find that lead source. Celeste is going to be one of the testers that we get working on this initially, but we're going to vet it first, make sure that the leads are good, that the bang is worth the buck. But those of you who have been playing in the market space know the hardest part of our business is getting the client on the phone. It's not actually selling. It's getting the client on the phone is the hardest thing that we encounter. And so if we can, even if the cost goes up by about a third, if we can have every client on the phone. Oh, and by the way, they put a close guarantee. When they're selling through an agency like us, they will put a guarantee on our close rate. And they're telling us their close rate is in the 20s. So between 20 to 30%. They do have some agencies that are claiming 70% close rate. I'm not buying it, but nonetheless, we're going to see. We're going to run a test. So guys, know that test is going to happen as soon as we confirm what the numbers look like. And again, I appreciate you, Celeste, for volunteering. Paul's going to do some of those calls too. So we're going to see what these guys look like before we set you guys loose on them. But we're kind of excited to see what those look like.
Very cool. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay. So next up, I mentioned this from the get-go, but we're seeing a big explosion in our final expense sales, which is really exciting. In fact, it seems like about every 15, 20 minutes, I'm getting a text message from someone around the country saying, hey, I just got another one, So it's been really fun. But we launched our boot camp this week, which has been really exciting for me to be able to meet with some of those participants. And one of the things that I know people have a hesitancy with is making that first dial, right? Taking that leap of faith. So what we wanted to go through today is just a mock sales conversation. So you guys are going to see me stumble and bumble my way through this stuff, which is totally fine. There are some things I'm going to be saying that I hope you pick up on, but there's also going to be some things that I'm not saying that I hope you pick up on as well. So what I would like for you to do as we go through this is take some notes, because at the end of this, I want to have some conversation. You know, what was the good, bad, and the ugly of this conversation? What could I do differently? What was good that you want to replicate? All of those fun things. Okay, so that's what we want to go through. So Dave is my my volunteer here. Hey, Dave. So if you bought Kaboom Leads, you know the Google Doc that they send forward. This is what it looks like. If you're on Agent One or you're on Rhythm for Gen 1, all of this info plugs straight into that AI as well. But this is really what it looks like. So here's what we know about Dave. And the other thing that we would know is the timestamp of when he filled this out, when he jumped onto Facebook and took a look at this. So name, email, phone, address, DOB. So we know he's the 50, right? We know, okay, he wants to use it for burial. Great. He wants to leave it behind for Jody. We don't know who Jody is, but it's Jody. And his favorite hobby is surfing. So one thing I want you to pay attention to, I've said this before, oftentimes in sales, we start leaning with logic, but this is 100% an emotional buy, right? To give you an example, one of the sales that took place just yesterday with Ben out in South Carolina, we were talking back and forth as he was going through this sale. The lady that purchased, she was literally in the hospital sitting bedside with her daughter who was in a car wreck. And so she saw her daughter was in the car wreck. That led her to say, you know what, I need life insurance. And so she went through the application in the hospital room with her daughter. So that's usually what's happening. There's usually some kind of emotional trigger. You know, they are going through it. They saw a family member go through it, or a friend or something like that, right? So just keep that in mind. That's probably what led them to go through and answer all these questions about themselves. So, all right, let me stop sharing my screen here for a sec. We know that information. Let's hope I didn't get logged out. And I did. So hold please. Okay. So step one, those of you that have been selling this, I'm not going to answer this one. I want to ask you all. We have that information. What's the first thing you would do with that information before you reached out to Dave? And you can put it in the chat too if you want, while I'm logging back in. Bueller? That I spoke in English, right? Celeste, if that was in Spanish, it's on you.
Are you meaning in the conversation, or are you meaning before you call?
Even before I call, yep.
I mean, I get him in integrity right away and have it ready for him.
There you go. Yep.
There's
Yeah.
answers going into the chat, by the way, Paul.
Oh, perfect. Gary,
I was looking
good.
for the chat
Wise. Wise, Gary,
Celeste,
you read it.
Celeste, you got a comment too? What was that?
Oh, I was just saying I was looking for like the chat button. But typically I get Aflac and Integrity ready, and I put their zip code, date of birth. I get Integrity ready in case there's any health issues, any of that stuff.
Yep.
Nice.
Perfect. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Absolutely. So
Good.
here's one thing to remember. This sale, if you've been in sales before, this is going to be a little bit of a shift, right? Because oftentimes, in fact, Nicole and I talked about this yesterday, right? Nicole, we're so used to calling to schedule an appointment, not a one-call sale, right? And so at least if you're coming from a work site, that's been your behavior, right? This call should just be a one-call close, right? And so if it's a one-call close, you want to be prepared to be able to jump right into it. So, okay. So I'm going to jump in here. Let me make sure I've got everything ready to go. Okay. Perfect. So I got Dave on the phone. All right. So I'm going to say, hey, Dave, it's Paul. You there?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, I'm so glad I got you. I thought maybe with all this weather, you're going to be out wake surfing or something. Dave, I'm calling Dave because I noticed that you filled out some information. You want some life insurance, leave something behind for Jody. If you don't mind me asking, what relation to you is Jody?
My spouse.
Your spouse? Oh, great. Oh.
Yeah.
So Dave, if something were to happen to you, it's safe to say that she's the one that would be going to the funeral home. She's the one talking to the funeral director and cutting the check and everything.
Yep. 100%. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. I just went through that not too long ago with my sister and my mom, so I know how emotional that can be. So this will be great. We'll get you squared away. Dave, another question for you. To make sure that happened and make sure you have this coverage, do you have something set aside from a budget standpoint? What feels good to you budgetarily to be able to make sure that you've got something to leave behind?
I don't even know, Paul. I have no clue how much life insurance costs. I have no idea. Maybe you can help
Okay.
me.
Yeah, perfect. That's what I'm here for. So I represent a number of different carriers, Dave. So I love making sure that I can bring the best to my clients. So we'll try with some of the best. I really like to lead with Aflac. You probably know the duck. They do a great
Yep.
job, but there's a number of different carriers I'll be able to jump through. So I do have a couple questions just to make sure that we can find you the best coverage here. And let me share my screen, guys. Sorry about that. All right. So Dave, let me ask you a quick question. Do you happen to take any kind of medication?
Yeah, I take medication and supplements, Paul.
And so let's just stick with the medications. What medications do you take?
I take losartan. I take 100 milligrams of losartan every day.
100 milligrams. Okay. Do you know how to spell that?
Losartan.
Okay, let me see here. Dave, you don't mind me asking, what's the reason for losartan? Why was that prescribed to you?
Unfortunately, I have high blood pressure, Paul.
Okay. Perfect. So you're not dealing with kidney disease or anything like that, yeah?
No, thank heavens. Nope.
All right, perfect. Well, that's good because that means I can probably get you with Aflac. So, sorry guys, normally I would have been logged in here and this would have been saved, but this one doesn't save in Aflac. So Dave, what's your zip code?
98072.
All right, perfect. 12/6/1973. Dave, any idea when you would want this coverage to take effect? As soon as possible?
As soon as I could. Yep, that'd be great.
Okay, what's today? The 6th. So it has to be someday in the future. So I'll go ahead and just put tomorrow even. Let's get you covered right away. Okay,
sounds good.
Perfect. Another question for you, Dave. Any tobacco use in the last 12 months, including vaping?
Nah, I don't do that.
Yeah?
Nope.
All right. Nice. Just monsters. Perfect. All right, perfect. So Dave, let me jump in here and I can tell you. So are you looking more, Dave? You have burial on there just to make sure your funeral expenses are covered. Are you looking for anything more than that, or walk me through that process? What were you thinking?
No, really. I just had a couple of deaths in the family and watched how expensive those funerals were. So, yeah, I just want to make sure that the burial's covered. I don't want her to have to worry about it.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so typically in Washington, you're going to be looking about $15,000-$16,000 for a good funeral. So with that, Dave, we can go anywhere from about 5,000 up to 50,000 in coverage, but I really like to also keep it in your budget there. So most of my clients typically spend between $1 to $4 a day, so about $30 to $120 a month. What feels right for you?
I don't know. Let's go in the middle somewhere, Paul. Why don't we do I don't know, $60 a month? I don't know.
About 60? Okay.
Yeah, let's see what 60 looks like.
Let me see here. I can take a peek. All right. So again, this depends on your health, right? There's a few questions I'll have to ask you here, but for $60 a month, good health. Do you feel like you're pretty healthy, Dave, or average?
Yeah.
What would you consider yourself?
Yeah. Nope. I feel like I'm pretty healthy.
Pretty healthy? Okay. Well, if you're pretty healthy, for $60, we could get you about 19,000 in coverage. If you have some health issues, 60 would get you about 9. If you went up to 70, you'd be looking about 22,000 in coverage.
Hey, Paul, what is $100 a month? What does $100 a month buy me?
Yeah, let's take a look. 100 if you're healthy, you'd be looking at about 33,000 in coverage. If you went up to 110, you'd be looking at 36. 33?
Yeah, let's look at that $100 a month. That sounds I could handle that.
Perfect. Let's do it. All right. Quote here. Baby. All right. So let's jump into this sucker. So Dave, I'm going to take you through the application. There's a few questions I'm going to have to ask you here. It's going to sound like a little bit of an interrogation, but I'll make it as painless as possible. I promise.
All
Are
right.
you a legal resident of the U.S.?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. I heard a little bit of a Canadian accent there, so I was just curious.
Oh yeah,
I'm just
sure.
kidding. Don't you know? That's Minnesota, but hey, okay. So Dave, there's a few sections of questions I'll have to take you through here, but we'll get through it. So again, I mentioned it's going to sound like a little bit of an interrogation, but we'll be fine. So first question, and I assume I know the answer to this, but you're not currently in a hospital, nursing home, or skilled nursing facility,
No.
anything like that right now.
No,
Okay?
I'm at home.
Okay.
Nope,
Okay.
I'm at home. I live at home.
Okay. So I take it you're also not receiving, or you're not receiving
Yeah.
home health care or
No.
hospice care? No?
Nope.
All right.
Thank
You did
heavens.
say you're pretty healthy. So any long-term use of wheelchair, mobility scooter, physical, mental impairment
No.
requiring assistance?
No,
Yeah.
no, none of that stuff.
Okay. Let's see. In the past year, Dave, have you been advised to use oxygen equipment to assist with breathing, CPAP,
No,
apnea? No. Okay.
none of that stuff.
Or been advised for any kidney
No.
dialysis? No.
No kidney issues at all.
Okay, perfect. Next one. Have you been advised to have any medical procedure, surgery, or diagnostic test other than for routine screenings purposes of vision or hearing exams, anything like that?
No,
Okay.
no. Colonoscopy. I have to have a colonoscopy once a year.
Yep. Okay. I would say
Does that
that's just
count?
routine.
Okay.
That's routine. That's healthy stuff. HIV, any test for
No.
anything like that? No.
Nope.
Okay. Have you ever received or been advised to receive an organ or bone marrow transplant or an amputation due to any disease or complications
No.
of diabetes? No.
No.
Okay. I already kind of asked this one, but I got to ask it again. It's on the app here. We're almost through this section, Dave, so bear with. Have you ever been
Okay.
diagnosed by a member of the medical profession or tested positive for HIV or AIDS?
Never. No. New.
Perfect. I figured so with that first question. Have you been diagnosed with, received, or been advised to receive treatment or medication for Lou Gehrig's disease, Huntington's disease, or sickle cell
No.
anemia?
New.
Okay.
Nope.
Any Alzheimer's or dementia?
Nah.
Congestive heart failure, pulmonary fibrosis, terminal condition, end-stage disease?
No. Nothing.
All right. Perfect. Cerebral palsy. Oh, wait, I already asked that one. No, cerebral palsy, cystic fibrosis, muscular
No.
dystrophy. Okay.
I haven't been diagnosed with any diseases, Paul. Just I have slight hypertension, slight high blood pressure. That's it.
Hypertension. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So I take it then no cancer in the last 2 years either.
Yeah. No cancer ever.
All right. Perfect. All right. Well, hey, good news,
Well,
Dave.
hey,
I mean,
Paul, I did have a mole that I had to have removed, and they said it was precancerous. I don't know if that counts.
Yep. Nope. It has to be defined as cancer. So pre-cancer,
Yeah.
you're good.
Never had. Nope.
Yep. Perfect. So you mentioned you're healthy, so good news, Dave. I can definitely get you coverage. Let me see if I can get you the best coverage though. So just a few more questions here for you. So you mentioned you haven't been diagnosed with anything other than
Nope.
your blood pressure there. Any alcohol or drug abuse?
Nah. Never.
Been convicted of a DUI?
Nope.
No. Okay. Complications of diabetes?
No. No diabetes.
Insulin? None of those things. Okay. Kidney, liver disease? No. I would assume.
No. None.
All right. Let's see. No surgeries coming up. You mentioned no heart attack.
No.
Yeah, blood
No.
pressure, but no heart attacks. Yeah,
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. That's right.
and no strokes. All right.
No
perfect.
strokes.
All right. So I'm just making sure I'm
Stroke
checking my
free
boxes.
since
Dave.
1973.
All right. Perfect. So you already answered heart attack and no stroke. Perfect. No lupus, no
Yeah,
COPD,
lupus.
right?
Yeah,
Perfect.
no lung issues.
All right. So Dave, good news. You qualify for that preferred level plan, which is fantastic. So we can get you the $33,000 for $100, which is great.
Sweet. Oh,
Dave, I do want to ask you this. Aflac's got a great term writer for kids that you can add. So
no, I already have a juvenile life plan for my kids.
Perfect.
My other kids
Okay.
are grown, so my one that's
Got it.
not is got a plan already.
okay. And so you've got some plans there. Is this intended to replace anything?
Yeah. No.
Nope. Okay. Perfect. And you already said this isn't replacing anything. Okay. Not replacing. Perfect. Okay. So moving on. So the tough part's over, Dave. Fantastic.
Nice.
So we're through the questions. You mentioned it was 100 milligrams. Is that right?
Yep. 100 milligrams of losartan once a day.
For blood pressure, correct?
Yep. Yep.
All right. Perfect. So Dave, you're a pretty healthy guy. This does, I answered the questions. You should be good to go. But in the case they find something in your MIB, we can get you your plan. Oh, sorry, your medical history. They're still
Okay.
going to ping your medical history just to make sure. I trust you, of course. But if for some reason something came back, you've got an option to either take the same benefit amount at a little bit of a higher rate, or keep your premiums the same and take a little bit of a lower benefit. Which would make most sense to you? What feels right to you?
I'd rather keep my premium at about $100. That would be good.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. Can do. One other question on this. There is an accidental death benefit rider. So you're a wake surfer. I would imagine you can swim pretty well. But if for some reason you pass away due to accident, it would double that face amount. So instead of 33,000, you'd get 66,000. It would cost you another $6.58. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, man. That's easy.
Yeah. Okay. So that would take, Dave, your monthly payment to $107.49. Does that feel right?
Oh, no problem. Okay? Yeah, that's good. Easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. This is actually whole life insurance as well, Dave, and so it does accrue cash value as you pay on it. So with that, every now and again, premiums can get skipped. So you do have some options, which most often than not, people choose this option, which is an automatic premium loan. So for some reason you're out of town or something and your premium doesn't go through, what Aflac will do is they'll take a loan out against the cash that's accrued. They'll pay your premium to make sure your coverage is enforced, and then you can get caught back up. Is that a good option for you? Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Is that what most people do?
That's what most people do. I mean, you do have another option. You could do term insurance. They would take whatever you paid and issue term coverage, but I would assume you want this for life. Yeah.
Yep, I do.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Let me go through here, Dave. So the next step, I need to get your social security number, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Got your address. This stuff we know. Dave, I do need Jody's information here. So you said spouse, yeah?
Yep.
Jody.
Same last name.
Same last name. Okay. 100% her.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And she lives at your, what was
same
14830.
Yep.
14830.
Northeast 167th Street.
In Woodinville.
98072.
What was it again?
98072.
Perfect. What's your phone number, Dave?
206-499-9952.
Dave, you'll be you'll be paying for this, right?
Yep.
Next. It's not gonna let me go there. Okay. So next, Dave, is how are we going to pay for this? So it's
just on my credit card. Just on my credit card.
Dave, on Aflac likes to tie it to your bank account so that it makes sure it stays in place. Do you have a check or anything like that handy that we can go through?
No.
Do you
I
have
want to put it on my
account?
I do, but no, I want to put it on a credit card. I get miles. I want to go to, I try to do Hawaii. So no, I definitely want to put it on my credit card, especially doing something over the phone. I just feel more protected instead of giving my bank information.
Yeah, Dave, I definitely get that. You ever paid by check, Dave? if grocery store or anything like that?
No, I don't even think I can think of the last time I wrote a check. No, I pay for everything on my credit cards.
Yeah, okay. Dave, unfortunately, if you want to go credit card, I'm gonna have to pivot to a different carrier. I'd have to
Okay.
pivot to Transamerica. Still great. But if that's okay with you, if you're hard set on going credit card, then I've got to
Yeah,
pivot over
I
to
don't do bank
Transamerica is what I
account.
would suggest.
No,
Yep.
I don't do my bank account. It's credit card.
Yeah. Okay. So pause there. Make sure you take note on that because we'll speak to that. But I also had put Dave into Transamerica before coming in, so I have this ready to go. Celeste knows this has happened to us before, almost this very thing, right? We've gotten all the way to that stage, and then Comcast, it, I got to switch over here. So now I already have iGo ready to go. So I'll just jump over. Okay, so Dave, let me get over here. All right. David, the rate may change a little bit here, but we'll jump into it.
Is it a big change, a big rate change, Paul?
We'll take a look. No, it shouldn't be.
Okay.
But I can't tell you for sure until I get into it. So I believe I already know the answer to this question, Dave, because we already went through it. But you confirm you've not been diagnosed with anything major.
No, I have no diagnoses other than blood pressure.
Perfect. All right. So my name. Guys, make sure you put your agent number in right there, by the way. I'm just going to skip that for this purpose. All right, Dave, and I apologize, Dave. What was your address again?
14830 Northeast 167th Street. Northeast 167th Street.
Boom, Woodinville. All right, boom, perfect. Retrieve customer information. All right, very nice. See, did it come through? Perfect. Okay. Personal history. Okay. No, you already answered that. No drug abuse. No narcotics. You already answered that. Been convicted due to DUI. You already said that. Any felonies, Dave?
No, thankfully not.
All right, perfect.
Nothing
Okay.
they've ever caught me for.
Dave, on Transamerica, it does. I do need to ask your height and weight. What's height and weight for it?
6 foot.
Okay.
225
okay.
this morning. 225 this morning.
Hey, man, that's pretty fit. You're not kidding. All right. And just a reminder, no heart disease, no congestive heart failure.
No, I haven't been diagnosed with anything other than blood pressure.
Yep. Okay, perfect. And last 3 months, and any treatment for anemia? No.
No.
You been in the hospital at all overnight in the last 12 months?
No.
Okay. Okay, you already answered that one. Nicotine, you already asked that one. Ooh, Dave, so this is nice. So with Transamerica, there is an activity credit. So if you stay pretty active, then sometimes we can even bump you up to an even better rate. I believe you're going to qualify for the best rate even without this. But you're a wake surfer. How often do you get out and do that?
I don't know, a couple times a week at least.
Yeah. For at least 10 minutes, you're a good wake surfer. You can stay up for 10
Oh
minutes.
yeah, I work out too. So I work out as well.
I just teased it. All right. So Dave, how many days a week do you work out?
At least 4 days.
At least 4? Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. And Dave, do you own by chance any cannabis related business?
No.
That wasn't for me, by the way. That was for the application. Just making sure you knew. All right, you already said this is not to replace any insurance.
Nope.
You are the owner. Perfect. Beneficiary was Jody. Let me put her name in here again. All right. I'm just going to skip through some of this, guys, for purpose of time. All right, perfect. All right, now let's get into your plan. So you're looking for about 33,000, right? Is what we were looking at.
That's what we were looking at on Aflac.
Yeah, so we'll see here what I can get you. I'm gonna do debit credit card. Dang it. Because I don't have everything checked in the other boxes, it's not going to give me the quote here, guys. So, anyway, let's assume it's in good standing. Okay.
And by the way, guys, for preferred, Aflac and Transamerica are typically within $1 or $2 of each other. It's so close.
Yep. Okay, and he already answered those 2 questions for me previously. All right, Dave, now I just need your credit card info here, but when would you like your initial payment? You can actually, if you choose, Dave, you can have it start early, and then you can pick a different day of the month after the
Yeah, it
initial
doesn't
payment,
matter.
or do you care?
No,
Doesn't
we can
matter?
start.
Okay.
If we can still do tomorrow, I'm good with tomorrow.
Perfect. Okay, we'll do that. Dave, so this day and age, it's so nice to get everything electronically. Are you fine if we send you all of your policy information electronically?
Yep, I'd
Okay.
prefer it, but I also want can you make sure that I get a paper copy too, just to put in the safe?
Yep. Sorry, I was reading that too.
Hey, this is Ruland. Hey, question for you. Is there one
Yeah.
reason why you would go with one carrier over the other? Is there one carrier that does a better job, or does it just does what would be the best way to answer that if somebody
Yeah,
asks?
so Daniel, I would say this is my preference. Aflac has great coverage, great company. It's my preference to lead with Aflac, and if I can get them on Aflac, because it's a great brand, it's a great policy, it's hard to beat, and also the application process is so much easier. So if I can get them on Aflac, I'm going to go that route. Transamerica, as Dave mentioned, price-wise, I mean, they're going to be neck and neck. Transamerica is a little bit easier on the underwriting. So as you heard, like if they were standard, for example, and that activity question, we could get them from standard to preferred. So if on Aflac, if they're going to be standard or modified, we almost always pivot to Transamerica for price. It's going to be the bigger bang for the buck for the client. You can see their application. Well, actually, you can't see it, but their application process is a little bit more difficult once you get to the signature side.
Mhm.
So that's why.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so I am in Salem, Oregon. All right. All of this stuff's for me, Dave. I'm just filling out a couple things here. No. Okay, perfect. Oh, whoops. Dave, would you like Jody? Well, you guys live in the same house. You're gonna get the same.
Same
stuff,
house.
right?
Yeah, just if you could send a copy to my house, that'd be cool.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Attachments, no attachments. Okay, so Dave, next step here, you're going to get an email. So
Okay.
in this email, you are going to have to put in a PIN. The PIN number is just your social security number. So
Okay.
do you have access to a computer, or do you check your email on your phone?
Yeah, I can find it on my phone. Yeah,
On your
I got it on my
phone?
phone.
What kind of phone are you on, Dave?
An iPhone.
Congratulations. I like you even more. Here's one potential challenge, just so you know. With iPhone can have a little bit of an issue with entering in the data. So we'll try it once to see if it works. If it doesn't work, it may have you copy the link and open it up in Chrome. Do you have Chrome on your phone?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, let's try it. So anyway, next thing, I would hit it. It would send Dave an email. He can open it up. Likely, it's not going to work in Safari. So I would just say, hey, Dave, go ahead and copy that. Do you know how to copy a link?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and copy that link, open up Chrome, plug it in there. When you type in your social, Dave, make sure you put the dashes in there as well. It's kind of finicky.
Okay.
All right. So,
Yep,
so
I
Dave
got
would
it.
go through that. Yep. All right, Dave, perfect. Your policy should be drafted tomorrow. Things should be good. If you have any questions, this is my cell phone, so feel free to give me a call whenever. You'll get your documents emailed, and we'll get them mailed over to you as well.
Great.
Any questions,
Thanks,
Dave?
Paul. No, man. That was no problem.
All right. Perfect. Thanks, Dave. All right, guys. That's it. That's the process. That's the flow. So light me up. Good, bad, and the ugly. What'd you like? What'd you not like? What did I miss?
I'm curious, do you think you should ask how they want to pay for it up front so you know if you need to steer clear?
Ding, 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 ding.
I was
Yeah,
like, why don't gotta start
Yeah.
over? Come on.
yeah, absolutely. Learned that the hard way for sure. I don't know if Josh Andelin's on the phone, but he's a rigger veteran. That's something that he certainly does.
Hey, Paul, good job. Are you going to share the recording with everybody?
Yeah, yep, we
Thank
will.
Thank you.
So one thing to note on that. So if you notice when I first started, I try to tap into the emotional side of things right out of the gates, right? So I cued in on his activity, which was wake surfing.
Actually, even before that, when I picked up the phone, Paul just addressed me by name. He didn't ask for me, which I thought was a good trigger too, right? So he's like, hey, Dave, like he just said my name right out of the gate, as opposed to saying, hey, is Dave around or is Dave available? Like, right? He made the assumption that I was Dave answering my own phone. So I like that. That was a great start.
He brought in the hobby too. He said, hey, I'm glad I didn't catch you out wake surfing.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
I love that emotional question too. One of those first ones that I asked there, which was, Dave, I see that you're trying to find some coverage to leave behind for Jody. If you don't mind me asking, what relation to you is Jody? And then, he told me, and then you guys remember what I said after he told me who Jody was? Anyone pick up on that one? So I dove into, I said, okay, so Jody's your spouse. All right. So you want to leave something behind for her. So I'm assuming, it's safe to assume that if something happened to you, she would be the one that would be going to the funeral home. She'd be meeting with the funeral director. She'd be the one cutting the check to pay for everything, right? So I've learned that's really powerful because it does really cue into the emotional side of what they're doing this for, right? So what you want to do is paint that picture of what they have to go through, right? And it does drop their guard because no one likes to be sold anything. So next question was the budgetary question. And I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but rather than saying, what do you think would be a good number for you? It was what feels right. I'm sure you've set some funds aside for something like this. What feels right to you on a monthly basis, right? So you want to play on the feel, not the think, right? Think's logic, feel is emotion, right? And so as much as you can teeter on the side of emotion, the better off you're going to be. Okay. Anything else? Anything else stand out to you all?
I think Paul, you did a good job. And when you get into the questions, right? Those questions and all those diseases of trying to make it as, he said it right out of the gate around the nursing home. Hey, I think I know the answer to this, but I got to ask it anyway, right? I'm pretty sure you're not in a nursing home, nursing facility, rehab, whatever the question was. And leaning that way was easy. So making those underwriting questions as less of an interrogation and just trying to make it more conversational. I think that's powerful.
Do you think you're shooting yourself in the foot by saying that this costs between $1 and $4 a day, so 30 to 120? You mentioned that later, but the first question was, you said, what type of budget do you think you would have? Is that a better approach to let them come up with a number?
Well, he only went to the $1 to $3 a day after he had already asked me that question,
Yes.
right? And then he pivoted to, well, most people feel comfortable with between $1 and $4 a day, and so then he said $30 a month. I think that's a really solid approach. People way overestimate the cost of insurance as a whole. So they think that insurance is super crazy expensive, like that's what they think. So I think he kind of diffused that it's super expensive by going that route and saying, when I'm like, I have no idea how much. In your brain, when you buy anything in your brain, you're already coming up with a cost, right? You walk up to look at a car for sale, you already think like you're kind of guessing the cost as you walk up, or looking at something on the shelf. And then you're either shocked of how expensive it is, or the opposite direction, like, oh wow, it's cheaper than I thought. But I think the way that Paul positioned that was, oh, I can get insurance for $1 a day. That's pretty cheap, right? So I think it diffuses the cost question.
Yeah, and again, when it's tied to emotions, cost usually isn't as important to them.
Yeah.
Gary, I don't know if you were trying to comment there, Gary.
Yeah, I was. When you're going through the questions, what happens when you reach the knockout question? Are you in a pivot, or what happens?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if you caught it, but I kind of asked a little bit of a qualifying question with Dave there early on, just to get a sense. I asked them, said, Dave, from a health perspective, how would you rate yourself from a health perspective? You a pretty healthy guy, you average, you got some issues. How would you rate yourself? So that will kind of help Gary, it will prepare you for what's coming up. Like I've asked that before, and I've had a guy that was basically a walking zombie. His health was so bad, So I knew this probably wasn't going to be a fit for him. That's where you would go to Corbridge, and he was priced out, unfortunately. When I looked at it, it was going to be like $140 something for $2,500 in coverage. I was like, oh gosh, yeah, no thing. It didn't work for him. But you can ask some qualifying questions. The main thing, Dave already said it. The main thing I would say is try and make it as conversational as possible. You're on the phone with these people. I don't know how long that took us to go through those two. 25,
Did anybody
30
time
minutes.
it? Celeste, you seem to be the queen of timing. How long did it take to do the app? Did anybody take note? I think about 15 to 20 minutes with the pivot.
Yeah, I think
Is that about right?
Yeah, it wasn't too
probably
bad.
about that.
Celeste made a good point when we were going through some training a few weeks ago, is that the more that she's been able to go through the applications, the easier it is to stay focused on the conversation. And so I've been through it a few times. There's still some hiccups. If you notice, there's still some things I have to double check in reading. But when you know the applications and you're not surprised by what's going to come up next, then it makes it easier to just flow in the conversation. Like on that Transamerica, you probably saw me stuttering on that Transamerica app a little bit because it didn't verify Dave's information, because I wrote Dave, not David. And so because it didn't verify his information, then I couldn't complete some of those things. So once all those green checks are checked, it is a much simpler process. So
yeah.
But the more comfortable you can be with the applications, the easier that conversation is going to be. So
guys, I think a suggestion would be is to do what Paul and I just did. Grab anybody, a friend of yours, a spouse, or whomever, and go do an app. And don't let them see the screen so they can answer the question before, as they read it ahead of you. Just run through an app with them. Just double check, make up dummy information, whatever. Like it's super fine to do it. But I would say the more practice you get, the faster it flows. You kind of start seeing the hurdles before you run into it. And so, I think, Gary, you brought up, hey, you hit a knockout question. You start being able to hit the knockout questions before, and you're just like, you can go, oh,
you know what?
Coming. The cool part is we can cover just about everybody, Gary. So, you've got trouble with COPD. We have a carrier that actually helps specialize with folks dealing with that. Oh, you're dealing with a cancer. You know what? We actually have a carrier that can handle a number of cancers. What type of cancer are you dealing with, Gary? You start having those kind of conversations, and part of the reason why we stick with 3 carriers, we have access to, I think the number is now over 60 carriers that we could draw from. Our company is appointed with about a dozen, and we sell with 3 carriers. And we do it because those 3 carriers can cover just about any person out there. They all have big brands, and they all pay claims. And that's really, guys, we sell paper and promises. That's what we sell. That's it. Paper and promises. And so when you tell somebody that they're going to get coverage, and that when a claim happens, that the company's going to deliver, that's what all these companies do. And it allows you to be focused. Should we go out there and shop? So you guys, if you want a super high commission product, we can absolutely, a higher commission product, absolutely, we've got that in our back pocket. It's also the highest premium product in the market space. Weird, right? Shocker. But if you want it, let us know. We're happy to get you appointed with Americo. You're going to make 10 or 15% more commission on the product. You're also going to be much more pricey. And we tend to watch over and over again. A lot of these folks have been preyed upon by others. They've been looked at it. And so that's not the route that we go. But being very versed in the three carriers that we have, I think there's a lot of power in that. Daniel, you got a quick question?
Hey, question. This is Rulon. Hey, what's the rate between that other carrier from having that extra 10-15% commission compared to the rate for
It's like
the cost?
Yeah, Rulon, it's like 20%, 20 to 25% more. It is the most so when I was with Aflac and we were actually looking at pricing our Aflac's final expense, we looked at them because that carrier working there's an FMO that sells about 600 million of it a year. And they straight up, they're like, we want the highest premium possible because it's the highest commission product possible. That's their focus. It's purely their focus. And I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, but that's their focus. But to get 10 or 15% more, your client's paying 20, 25, 30% more. It's significant. And it's a brand. It's Americo. It's Americo, Rulon, Americo. Yep. And we're appointed with them. So if you want to look, hey, Rulon, or if any of you guys want to take a look at Americo, we're appointed with them. We're appointed with them in 29 states. I know because we just paid the appointment fees for them, and we've never sold a single policy with them. But if some of you guys want to take a look at that route, it's your business. That's part of it. But we chose these three carriers for brand power for the client, for claims power, the ability to what their process looks like. In fact, if Transamerica doesn't get moving a little quicker, we're going to look somewhere else too, because not loving their tech these days. But guys, I would say be very versed in these three. And really between TA and Aflac, you're going to get about 95% of your clients are going to fall into the TA or Aflac.
Yeah, and hey, Rulo, just so you know as well, and really for everyone, remember, because I couldn't verify Dave, I couldn't actually pull the quote in that policy, the difference. So pivoting to Transamerica was actually going to save him a little bit of money because he was preferred for $33K with the accidental death. It was going to cost him $100.25. And what was
and it was 107. It was 107 with Aflac with the accidental death rider. So there you go. Yeah. Guys, I know we're right at time. We're actually slightly over time. Any other comments?
Well, boot campers, we got to switch over to that other call. So I'm going to bow out. Great to see everybody. Boot campers, I'll see you on our weekly wrap up real quick. Bye, guys.